first step is to cut the bread into pieces. Just make sure they are nice cubes. So you can see the pieces, I've cut them into even sizes. Bread should be dry because you're going to add milk and other ingredients. The next step is to mix the wet ingredients. For this, you need about 75 grams of butter that's been melted, 130 grams granulated sugar. So just mix everything, mix the sugar and the melted butter. Use a whisk. 500 ml of milk. This is milk at room temperature. Just whisk the eggs. Pour it into the milk and butter mixture. Once you've got that, just mix everything together. So the final ingredient to the wet ingredients would be the vanilla essence. Whisk that in. Have this lovely golden mixture. Now next we're going to layer the bread pieces along with the chocolate chips. So I have an oven proof glass bowl over here, which I've just coated the base with some melted butter. I'm going to layer the bread pieces. I have 100 grams of chocolate chips. I'm just going to sprinkle them. Just going to randomly layer the other pieces. I'm going to put another layer of chocolate chips over this. So this is going to be our final layer of bread. All of the chocolate chips. We're going to add the wet ingredients onto the bread. Make sure you cover all the bread pieces. You can see how beautifully the bread pieces are just soaking up all the milk and the butter and sugar mixture. And then I'm going to sprinkle some sugar to finish it off, to give you that extra crunchy texture on top. Make sure it sits for about 5 minutes before you actually bake it. It's very essential that you preheat the oven at 180 degrees before you actually bake. So make sure you do that. There you have this absolutely delicious chocolate chip bread pudding. Now if you don't have chocolate chips, don't worry about it. You can just buy 2 slabs of chocolate or 1 slab. Just chop it up into pieces and make this pudding as well and enjoy it. It's very simple with very simple ingredients. So try it and enjoy it with your family on a special day. So first we're going to add all the dry ingredients into the bowl. All-purpose flour 1 3/4 cups. So I'm using the cup measurement for the cake. Cocoa powder 3/4 cup. Salt 1 teaspoon. Baking soda 1.5 teaspoons. Baking powder 1.5 teaspoons. Sugar 2 cups. So here I've used 250 ml cup for all my measurements. So just mix all the dry ingredients together. It's time to add all the wet ingredients. Half cup vegetable oil, 2 teaspoons vanilla essence, 2 eggs, 1 cup milk at room temperature. Gently start mixing everything together. Finally add 1 cup of hot water and mix it. You don't have to mix it for too long. Your chocolate cake batter is ready. So I'm going to just grease the cake tin. If you have a butter paper, you can use that, whichever is convenient for you. Dust it with some all-purpose flour, just dusting it on all sides. See the batter, the cake batter is lovely and smooth. This is how you want it to be. Now distribute the cake batter equally into both tins. Make sure that every time you pour the batter into the cake tin, it's only about 3/4 of the tin because you need to give it the allowance for it to raise, and bake it about 180 degrees for about 40 minutes. Insert a toothpick, it should come out clean. So that's the indication that your cake is cooked right through. So next I'm going to show you the icing for the chocolate cake. Take a saucepan, add 200 ml fresh cream, add 200 grams of chocolate, plain chocolate. Make sure the flame is on low while making the icing. It's just basically melting the chocolate into the fresh cream. Use a whisk to melt it down. The chocolate is melted beautifully. It just took less than a minute. Turn off the stove and keep it aside. Cool the icing completely. So using a knife, make sure the cake is not sticking to the sides of the cake tin. Take a plate on top and just flip it over. The cake should be completely cool while doing this. I'm going to cut the cake into half. You can see I'm just rolling the plate gently. Knife goes through the cake. This is a technique that you can try. Now I'm gently going to spread the icing. Another layer of the icing. So finally, I'm going to top it off. So there you have this very moist, soft and fluffy chocolate cake. You can have it as is, or if you want to have with a nice scoop of ice cream, you can enjoy that with an ice cream. But I would prefer have it as is. One cup all-purpose flour. It's a 250 ml measurement. 3/4 cup granulated white sugar. Half cup cocoa powder. 2 teaspoons baking powder. Mix the dry ingredients and keep it aside. Half cup of melted butter. To this add half cup milk, 1.5 teaspoons vanilla essence. Gently whisk it. So these will be your wet ingredients. So I'm going to mix the wet and the dry ingredients together now. Add a pinch of salt. Add wet ingredients. Now the mix looks very doughy, and this is the consistency that you're looking for. So these ingredients are for the topping. 1 cup sugar, the 250 ml cup, and half cup cocoa powder. I'm using a casserole, oven proof. The batter is actually very doughy. This is how it should be, a nice thick consistency. It's a baked pudding that we're making, so there's no need to grease it. So make sure it's even on all sides. Now I'm going to sprinkle the topping. This is the sugar and the cocoa. Just spread it out evenly. Finally, I'm going to pour the hot water over the topping. This is a very important instruction. Please make a note. Do not mix it once you've poured the hot water. Preheat the oven at 180 degrees for about 10 to 15 minutes and bake it for about 30 minutes. Ensure that there is no water left on top while baking. So if it requires a little more time, say another 5 minutes, then keep it for another 5 minutes till a nice crust is formed on top, and it should be gooey at the bottom. The gooey chocolate pudding cake is ready to be served. Now it's a little warm. I've let it sit outside for about 15 to 20 minutes. So there you have this gooey chocolate pudding cake. I'm sure you guys can't wait to actually make it and have it. Just start doing it immediately after watching this video. Enjoy with your family. You can get a copy of our first edition of the home cooking book on 21 frames.